for your kind introduction. We are almost ready to wrap up through this last session of this conference. I'm very honored to be a chair of this last session, and then close, and then we can wrap up and make a final conclusion, and recommendations can be made through these sessions. Especially this last session organized by the FAO, future direction, and how can we solve the problem through the old efforts made from different international organizations. The first speaker of this session, Myung-Shin Choi, you already know much about her. She was with us at TFAMR last 5 years, and then she is now the Food Standard Officer at FAO in Rome. Please join me welcome to Ms. Dr. Choi for her presentation of the progress and the action to support the implementation of Codex AMR Act project.
Thank you, Dr. Park, for your kind introduction of me. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Myung-Shin Choi. I'm the Food Standard Officer of the Codex Alimentarius Commission, and I'm coordinating ACT project. Before I begin, I would like to say my special thanks to the Korean government for hosting this important event and for your kind contribution to the ACT project, and for giving us opportunity to share our experience of the ACT project. Session 4 is for the ACT project and is composed of 6 speakers. I'm the first one, and I will introduce the ACT project briefly, and then my precious colleagues will follow with more and in-depth explanation. I want to start with what the ACT project is important. ACT stands for Action to Support Implementation of Codex AMR Text Project. The full name is Implementation of Codex Standards to Support Containment and Reduction of Foodborne Antimicrobial Resistance. I would like to highlight 2 words, Codex and Foodborne AMR. It is the first project in Codex to support countries directly in implementing Codex text. And it is also the first project in FAO which is dedicated only to the foodborne AMR. You know who he is? He is Tom Hyland. He said this is the way it should be. I agree with him. This is brief introduction of the ACT project. It is a global project with 2 regions, 4 countries in Asia, Cambodia, Mongolia, Nepal, and Pakistan, and 2 countries in Latin America, Bolivia and Colombia. We started this project in 2021 and will finish in 2026. It is a 5-year program. And the donor country is the Republic of Korea, the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety, with $10 million. The goal is to support implementation of Codex standards on AMR. Codex has developed relevant text to contain foodborne AMR. This is the heart of our work, compendium of the Codex text on AMR. It has 3 important texts: guidelines for risk analysis of foodborne AMR, and guidelines on integrated monitoring and surveillance of foodborne AMR, and code of practice to minimize and containing foodborne AMR. I believe this compendium will help countries in designing and running successful strategies to contain foodborne AMR. This project has 3 objectives. Objective 1 is to raise awareness on foodborne AMR and codex text on AMR. And objective 2 is to support integrated monitoring and surveillance systems of AMR and AMU in food production. And objective 3 is to strengthen the capacities to support good practice. This is our approach. We know that countries differ in their situations, such as socio-political context and level of implementation of codex text. So, first step is to assess where they are, and then do the analysis, what their gaps are, and we plan the work plan. In this point, it's very important to prioritize the work because always we have a limitation of resources. And to the support capacity building, and at the later stage, we will assess the impact of the project. From now on, I will introduce the progress has been made so far. First, assessment has been made using FAO evaluation tools. The result, each country assessed that they were in the initial phase of AMR implementation. An analysis has been made and priority area has been found. We have found 4 priority areas. First, raise awareness of foodborne AMR to farmers, veterinarians, and government. And to improve collaborations between governments and the private sectors. To improve the national AMR surveillance systems through INFARM. My colleague Alejandro will explain it more later. Lastly, to strengthen the regulatory framework to stop using growth promoters. We also identified specific commodities of interest: poultry, cattle, pig, aquaculture, and others. Now we have a clear idea what we have to do. Our project is ongoing, but we have achieved something, so I want to highlight some achievement from now on. Objective 1 is related to raise awareness on foodborne AMR. Communication activities has been implemented to introduce the project and raise awareness of foodborne AMR and the codex text on AMR. Our project has been highlighted on national TV program, radio, and newspapers. And several dozen of news has been updated on different websites, such as food safety website, and codex website, and FAO AMR website. And we also regularly update our news through newsletters. At the country level, they contribute various activities, especially during World Food Safety Day and World Antimicrobial Awareness Week in collaboration with the WHO and OR. I want to share a story from a small village, Hata Haital in Pakistan. Their main industry is dairy farming. The farmers followed household principles, and they used to believe antimicrobials are magic drugs that can cure every disease, but has not been the case always. She is Dr. Stamina. She is a veterinarian and has been practicing several years there and leading the campaign to raise awareness. And after farmers have changed their behavior, they are trying to follow good practice because they understand it is good for animal health. not compromising economic benefits. So this story will be posted on the web during the upcoming Antimicrobial Awareness Week. We have developed several materials. First, compendium. And we also have developed a brochure to explain what we are doing and what you have to do to contain foodborne AMR. Now it is available in English, Spanish, and Korean. I want to share a story from Colombia. Many agencies, including ACT Project, has been developing materials on AMR, but sometimes it's very difficult to find. So ACT Project in Colombia is developing an AMR platform in Spanish to collect information, to share and disseminate relevant information among ACT Project countries and beyond ACT Project countries. Objective 2 is related to support integrated monitoring and surveillance system of AMR and AMU in food production. I'm so proud of that. FAO has completed the development of in-farm IT platform, and Alejandro will explain it later. At the country level, they are currently in the process of establishing AMR monitoring and surveillance systems. Thanks to the ACT project, Mongolia is in the process of developing an AMR pilot surveillance system that has never done before. In Nepal, they are in the progress of developing an integrated surveillance system linking food and livestock production that has never done before. Objective 3 is to strengthen the capacities to support good practice. The ACT project has developed ACT 2 to understand the country's regulatory framework and level of implementation of codex text. My colleague Carmen will explain it more. And this tool has already triggered interest in other regions and will become available as global goods. Yesterday and today, we have heard about growth promoters. Phasing out antimicrobial growth promotion in food is very challenging. The ACT project is developing resources to help countries to address the challenges of AGP removal. My colleague Jeff will explain it more later. This is a brief introduction of the ACT project. I want to conclude with this saying, no time to wait, act now to stop foodborne AMR. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Choi. It's a wonderful presentation. Then, any question or comments? Floor is open. Okay. Please identify yourself and then ask a question, please.
전 시약처 이상욱입니다.
So I am Isanguk from MFDS. For developing countries, in order to reduce the AMR, I think if there can be some things that can be done at FAO level, but in many areas, I believe that there should be some collaboration with the WHO and WOH. So for these collaborative works, how do you carry out them? How do you promote cooperation with other international organizations? So if you could give us that explanation, I will highly appreciate.
Questions. I briefly introduced the project activities, but at the country levels, they are always collaborating with the WHO and FAO. So maybe we cannot explain what they are doing in collaboration with the WHO and NOAA, but I believe they are doing, yeah. Especially for the raising awareness activities during World Food Safety Day and World Antimicrobial Awareness Week. Yeah, always they are collaborating each other, and they prepare the program together. And this is the way we should be. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Rivera.
Thank you for a very nice presentation. I have a question. I think it's great to see all these examples of countries where nothing was happening in surveillance, bringing together data and starting to do an effort. I guess they do it also because they have help from the outside, and probably FAO and others are putting some funds on the table for them to start. Is there also an element of co-financing from these countries? And my worry is what happens once you go away from the country and leave them alone? Do you think there will be sustainability of whatever they put in motion when they are left alone? Because I think that is a real pity if that is the case. So is there any medium-term or longer-term thinking about these activities? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. What we learned from this project is a 5-year project. We learned that 5 years is not enough for them to do the work by themselves. So first, I want to ask the Korean government for their continuous support until they can stand alone. And when we work, we try to give the ownership to the government, to the countries, especially government, because as you said, we live at some point. So every steps, we try to make them engaged on the work. And especially in Asia, there are some fundings. For example, Cambodia, they have flaming funds, MPTF, Multi-Donor Trust Fund on AMR, and ACT project as well. So in that case, we encourage them to plan together, not ACT project alone, because ACT project is based on what they have done, what FAO and WHO and OVA has done. So we want to complement, not fight each other. So when we work, we try to keep in mind to make them work together. It applies to our work as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's kind of amazing situation, how the FAO Codex manages all different kinds of countries with a different level against MR. So I was just wondering and then ask a question, how can you manage and then communicate with all different level of MR situation, all different countries in Southeast, Mongolia, Pakistan, and Southern America? You have any special tools?
Thank you very much for your good questions. This is global project, so it is not easy to work directly with the countries. So our structure is like that. There is a headquarters and regional office and country offices. And we try to make a mechanism that enable us and enable them to work together. And first thing we tried to build was to make a stakeholder network at the country level and the regional level. So I'm so proud of that. 6 countries has developed strong stakeholder networks, yeah, that enable them to work together. I'm so proud of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. More question? Okay. from OA.
Thank you very much. It's just a comment, actually. I just wanted to support what you have explained, everything, that we are collaborating on the ground with all the countries raised. And I can assure that that we are trying at the country level. We are together with the WHO country office and FAO country office, and OA doesn't have a country office, only a regional office. But so that's why I myself is actually the collaborator in the country level as well. So I can assure that we are trying our best as a tripartite and now quadripartite, that that the countries are involved in at the very early stage of this development of a project formulation, and we try our best to advocate for the domestic funding and sustainability. Of course, it's always one of the biggest challenge, I would say, but it's our mutual position that we promote the sustainability and country buy-ins. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Actually, not only the Republic of Korea, Japan is a good cooperator and assistant to develop this kind of action in reality. Thank you very much. Please join me to close the Dr. Choi's presentation.